Hey everybody, and welcome to Let's Look at Leviathan Warships. Leviathan Warships is the new simultaneous, I think they say simultaneous or synchronous, turn-based, multiplayer and single-player naval warship game from Paradox Interactive. So this is not a Paradox dev studio joint, this is one that they are just publishing. But the easiest way to describe this is that it's kind of like Frozen Synapse, but on water. Or it's kind of like Hero Academy, but on water. If you're not familiar with what a simultaneous turn-based game is, well, you can wait 15 seconds and you'll see what it looks like. Or you can just imagine, you know, like chess is a turn-based game where people make their turns alternating from one another. So I move, you know, pawn to e4, you move pawn to e5. But in this game, both players make their moves at exactly the same time. And this creates an interesting dynamic. It is a lot like Frozen Synapse, and I actually like it a lot. I've spent about 2 hours with this so far. It's got a really good online component, and the single player is engaging enough as well. Lots of customization. Let's play offline for at least one game, so you guys can get kind of a feel for what is going on here. So we're going to create a game lobby. We can either play like a challenge, which is kind of like a miniature mission from the single player game, or like a small portion of it, like in this one. Basically, we're just going to be in this cluster of islands, and we're going to have to defend ourselves and survive as long as we can against a frenzied marauder attack. I don't know what any of these other ones are. This is the one that I played last night. But if we go up to the cooperative campaign here, this is the legitimate story, and why don't we go with a simple one here. I don't think... Okay, I've done up to this one. AS Mission 3. So why don't we try to do this? I actually beat this one in co-op online last night. And this is our information screen before we get into the actual game. So we are Admiral. This is our fleet score. And this is our fleet size. Now these are actually important because in customization, I'll show this more off later, but just for now you need to know that... basically, the way that this works is you can click on your ship and you can customize turrets of many different kinds the way that you want. It's almost like a tower defense game in that sense, but more like a gratuitous tank battles or something like that, where you can totally customize, if not the layout, at least the orientation of all of your cannons and stuff like that. So what I'm actually going to do here is I'm going to go back quickly, and I'm going to go to my interceptor. Remember, this is our maximum number of points. Every turret and every ship that we add will add points to this, so if we hit 4,900, we can't add any more. I kind of want to just shift a couple of these things around and make it so all of my cannons are on the same side, because this is going to make it easier for me to take out... oh, I've already reached my armament limit here. That doesn't seem right. Because I've already reached... or I've already played this mission and basically just got my ass kicked by the boss. So I think this might make it easier for me to succeed. So, you know, we've got the same number of points here. This is the maximum number of armaments. This is a custom fleet that I made. I believe I called this a Lion's Cub. I have no idea how this is going to work out, by the way. In fact, why don't we just, whatever. We'll give it a try. We might end up losing here. The game has been fairly difficult for me so far, but we need to get into some damn gameplay. So I'm going to ready up, and we'll get going here. Now, the basic premise of every mission, you know, if you've ever played like a real-time strategy campaign, you're going to find a lot of similarities here. The missions boil down to a few different kinds. Some of them are like, do a recon mission, or, you know, rescue a ship that's been lost at sea, because it is like about warring factions or something like that. And, you know, there's missions that are like, defend this important objective while waves of enemies come at you. And then there's missions like this one, which is like, destroy an enemy base with a big bad in it. So, this is how the game looks. I actually think it looks really good. It looks very simplistic, I'll admit. And that's because I think this is getting a simultaneous release across multiple platforms, including tablets. So, essentially, this looks fine on the PC. I think they made a smart decision not going for, like, technical impressiveness, I guess, in a way. Instead, they've gone for kind of very easy to see shapes, if that makes any sense, and good color as well. I don't necessarily think it looks as visually striking as something like a Frozen Synapse, but it looks totally fine on the PC, in spite of the fact that this is getting a tablet release as well, which you can't always say. So let's take a look here at our ships. This is our planning phase, which means we have, you know, as much time as we want in single player, but in multiplayer we have a limited amount of time to decide what to do. So we're going to take a look at our Arctic Serpent. It has a shield, which we can use now and then, a burst gun, and two assault cannons, I believe these are called. So by clicking on them, we can see the range that these have. So we know that there's a bruiser over here, and there is a destroyer coming in from this way. So what we want to do is coordinate our ships to put them into a position where they can do a lot of damage to the enemy. We don't want to run our ships into one another, though, because we could end up hurting ourselves really easily. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to back up this Arctic Serpent like this. This Arctic Serpent should have, like, basically exactly the same layout. So what I'm going to do with this guy is I'm going to back him up as well, but I'm going to back him up like over here just by dragging these, I don't even know what you would call them, like movement orbs, if that makes sense. And then I'm going to move my interceptor like straight ahead, and we can also have him rotate afterwards. But we'll wait till the next turn to do that. Now, the computer does not take very long to do its moves, which is actually really awesome, because that was a problem that I had, I think with, was it Hero Academy? I can't remember if it was Hero Academy or Frozen Synapse, but one of these games, that kind of has a similar concept to this, was really aggravating with the amount of time that it took for enemies to actually make moves, if that makes sense. Whereas in this one, they all move very quickly. And the interface works really well as well. So I think what I want to do is I'm just going to anticipate what the enemy is going to do. This interceptor is already really targeting this enemy bruiser. I think it's going to go down very easily. But I will put up my shield on my right side regardless. The shield has a cooldown, but this will allow us to absorb some damage. Will we be able to hit this destroyer on the next turn? I think we might want to have this dude rotate like so, and that'll put more of his turrets in range. Things move very slowly here. I mean, you're not dealing with, you're dealing with incredibly advanced machinery, but it's not particularly nimble machinery, if you know what I mean. So, you know, things that you want to do, they're subject to momentum, and they also take a long time to accomplish, and that's both a good thing and a bad thing. You also have to take into account momentum. So I've committed here. We should start shooting at this bruiser, and I expect that our interceptor will do a lot of damage to it. Yeah, it's doing all right at the very least. Now we should have a lot of our guys in range. Now, our turrets are auto-firing at this point, so whenever they see an enemy, they'll just fire at it, but if we want to, we could, for example, take, yeah, sure, why don't we take this gun, and we can actually just drag the marker the same way that we've dragged the marker for, our movement, and just drag it out here, and then it'll manually shoot here, which is important for things like rocket barrages, because you have to aim those manually. So let's get some shields out here on our guys, because we want them to take as little damage as possible, obviously. Is this guy? Yeah, he's in range. So we're just going to commit to this turn again. And now we're just basically going to advance and move as necessary in order to beat these guys. But it should be over fairly quickly here, if I had to guess. Now, you might be noticing some of these icons down here on the enemy ship. Basically, you can get kind of negative status effects if you're playing really badly or your ship's getting beaten up. So I think this propeller means the ship is out of control, which means for 9 more seconds, he doesn't control the movement of a ship. By the way, all of these like timers, those are listed in real time. A real-time turn is 10 seconds long. So maybe these are actually nimble if you turn it up to real-world scale. So, you know, I won't be able to use my shield again on some of these guys. Let's see, like, yeah, 22 seconds, 13 seconds, usually like a 30-second cooldown, I think. So we're just going to commit again, and I should be able to destroy these guys. That repair icon, ships automatically repair when they get below a certain amount of health, and they usually repair, I think, like 3 per second, so like 30 per turn. Now, unfortunately, only one of these ships now can see this guy, and there is friendly fire. Friendly fire is actually a major concern, so we're going to try to move this Arctic Serpent out of the way so our interceptor doesn't accidentally shoot it if it comes within range on burst fire. So I'm taking a few hits here, but our other Arctic Serpent should be able to destroy it easily enough. And now you can see that we're out of range. The burst fire is going to be able to fire on this guy and do some real damage. So that's our first engagement in Leviathan Warships. It's pretty standard. I mean, all of the engagements are going to be variations on a theme here. The game is pretty difficult in single player, though. I mean, I really like playing it in multiplayer co-op online. I did this exact mission in multiplayer co-op, and it was awesome because instead of controlling my entire fleet of ships, there were 4 people, and we each controlled 1 or maybe maximum 2 ships, which was great because it meant that I felt like I was more part of a squad as opposed to an admiral or something. I was going to say a general, forgive me. But it works well in single player as well. This is a lot of fun to control your own army here, and for people who are... or control your own fleet, control your own navy, I suppose. For people who are a little bit more mentally adept when it comes to strategy games like this, I think this is going to provide an adequate challenge, but also reasonable amounts of entertainment, if that makes sense, engagement. So what we are going to do here is we're going to... basically, let me spoil things for you. There's a lot of heavy defenses over here that you can see. Those are basically just going to be like artillery or cannons that are going to shoot at our ships. And there's also going to be a Gargantuan, which is an enormous enemy that has like 8,000 HP, which is going to be very hard to kill. But as soon as we trigger the Gargantuan, there's going to be a bunch of ships coming in from the north, and I need to think about something to do there. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start moving these guys like straight ahead. And maybe we'll have this guy rotate a little bit, and then he can move straight ahead as well. I'm not 100% sure how I'm going to do this, because I have really poor foresight a lot of the time. And then I'm going to take this guy and move him forward just a little bit. Basically, you just want to trigger the event that will move us forwards here. Hopefully, since I played this mission last night, I'll be able to beat it here. This is one complaint I do have about the game, is that the like compass bearing and the green arrow are very close together. But I oftentimes end up clicking on the compass bearing instead of the movement arrow, which is stupid, I think. But at the same time, you just zoom in really quickly with the mouse and you can see what's going on. My ship's on fire, which I don't think is the greatest thing that we could possibly have happen. Now, we're going to try to time it so we kind of float into this beacon, because if we don't, remember, there is momentum because we're on the water here. So if we want to like throw it in reverse, it might take us a whole turn to do so. So yeah, I've gone way too far here. I've got the next objective, but I think the enemies are going to start coming from the north now. So what I am going to do is just toss it in reverse. Again, this is basically me cheating, having having done this mission once before. And I think what we want to do here, first off, let's remove this. Where my cannons are all on the other side. So what I want to do with this guy is move him backwards. I can't believe it's going to take so long to move backwards. But I guess because the ship's heavier, it's going to take longer. And as we're doing that, or after we do that, I guess, oh my god, that's going to take 6 turns? That's crazy. And we'll back this guy up as well. So let's hit commit here and see how this works. It is kind of cool that you have to pay attention to the momentum of your ship in order to get something accomplished, in order to plan for your moves, essentially. Okay, so I'm going to cancel this move because I don't know if that's going to work out too well for us. Instead, what I'm going to do is just pivot my interceptor like so, like 180 degrees, so that his cannons are going to be shooting at this side, this north side, so he should be able to take out these enemies. And let's see how the range is over here. I think this guy's going to be able to hit some people, which is cool. So we'll cancel this move, and he should be all right. This guy's definitely not going to be able to hit any people. So we should just keep backing him up, maybe to here, and then he'll be able to hit people. So let's commit. For a while, this is going to be a little bit not great. I think I'm going to take some serious damage from enemies, but you know, my interceptor can afford it, thankfully. And once it turns around, things should be a lot easier to deal with here. So let's put our shield up on the right side as we continue to rotate here. We might as well put their shield up on the left side for this guy, and then just commit and make it happen again, because I think Arctic Serpent number 2 is going to be in range of enemies, and indeed he is. Good, so our shield has worked out decently well. I'm not sure how many ships come up here, actually. So what I'm thinking is we might be able to do just one Arctic Serpent up here to handle the riffraff that's going to come in from the north, and we'll use our interceptor to really bombard that Gargantuan that's going to be down there at the bottom. But at the same time, I think if he just gets like single target focused, he's going to be killed really easily, which obviously is not what I want to have happen. But, you know, let's have 2 Arctic Serpents handle up here, and then I'm going to rotate this guy around again and get him out of here. These guys are set up in a pretty good position. By the way, this is just a very basic fleet setup with, like, artillery cannons, basically, or assault cannons. And burst fire weapons. You can also have more interesting and especially like defensive weapons. Like you could have a ship that shoots mines, and then you could just like litter the kind of playing field with mines, and that will do a ton of damage to enemies after they've activated, which is really neat. Or, you know, again, there's things like rocket barrages as well. There's artillery cannons, which have super high range, but then, you know, there's a super high minimum range as well. Like you can't shoot at enemies that are directly in front of you. Etc., etc. So I want to move this ship in, but it's going to have to do a pretty serious rotation after a while. But let's just move it forward like 1 turn here, even though I did plan for more than 2 turns worth of movement. And I might need to move 1 Arctic Serpent in here just to add like a little bit of extra fire, because our interceptor is only going to be capable of doing like maybe a couple hundred damage per turn. So it would take like 40 turns to destroy the Gargantuan, and I'm pretty sure we would be in range of these heavy defenses and probably end up being destroyed as well. Alright, so, you know, my main hope when I do this is that the enemy AI is not going to be able to hit me. Now, luckily, my aiming seems to be better than the enemies. That's not saying I'm good at it. I'm usually just using the auto-targeting from the AI. But there's our Gargantuan, so we can probably stop right here now and then just rotate this guy like so, and then this will allow us to attack the Gargantuan and hopefully do a lot of damage. Now, when I did this mission in co-op last night, there were a lot of people up here, so I want to keep these Arctic Serpents kind of in range, and hopefully we won't end up taking too much damage. I'm just rotating to be able to give him like full blast basically from the cannons. And if I wanted to, I could manually target these heavy defenses and hopefully take the enemy down a little bit. You know what? Let's take 1 more Arctic Serpent over here. We'll put him full steam ahead, and then we'll move him this way, because I think I'm going to need somebody else to take the aggro as well. But in the meantime, we are doing a lot of damage. We've taken out about 1,000, or maybe a little bit less than the Gargantuan's health. I should definitely remember to use my shield, because those are hitting me and doing a lot of damage. Oh, Lord. Okay, so I think the obvious thing to do here is make sure the shields are going on the right, and then just kind of keep doing what we're doing. Whether or not this is going to work out for us, I don't know. You know, this single player has been very hard for me so far, partly because, you know, maybe I'm just not very good at games like this, but also, I think it's just, like, genuinely hard in its own right as well. So, yes, move over here. We actually we're doing a lot of damage to this guy, but the problem is that our interceptor is going to die if it gets hit, like, 10 more times. And that's really the ship that we need if we are going to kill the enemy here. So we're going to rotate. Oh, that's not what I meant to do. It's easy to minus moves, by the way, or take them away after you make a mistake. So we're just going to rotate. Oh my god, I did it again. This is my main complaint with the interface, is that I almost always click on the compass bearing instead of the movement instead of the compass bearing, or the compass bearing instead of the movement, depending on which one I want. I will click on the one that I don't want, unfortunately. I think, what's our range looking like on these, like, burst cannons? It's pretty good, but I think we should rotate maybe just slightly. A big element of this game is kind of like future-proofing yourself so that you don't fall out of range of the enemy. Like, if you just stand still, you can do that. You can play it like a tower defense game, but you're going to be punished pretty severely in the experience that I've done so far. So my bridge has been damaged. What this essentially means, oh, those shots are landing and doing a lot of damage. When your bridge is damaged, what was I going to say? Maybe we can rotate we can rotate a little bit here. When your bridge is damaged, your kind of optics range is decreased, so you can't see as far. Now, here's a problem. I think this guy's going to be out of my range soon. Like, this Gargantuan is going to be out of range. Like, he's going to be too close to me, unfortunately. So I think what we want to do is kind of, like, speed away, sadly. So I may not, after arguing about the importance of future-proofing yourself, I may have completely fucked myself a little bit by staying far too close to this enemy. So I'm going to try to escape now. You know, we are at the point where we're doing a pretty substantial amount of damage to this Gargantuan. But at the same time, we have a lot of riffraff to control as well. As you can see, like, these missions are long as well. These are not going to be short missions that are going to take you, what, you know, like 10 or 15 minutes. Typically, I've spent, you know, 20 minutes to 45 minutes with each one of these, which is longer than some people might have time to play, but at the same time, I've really enjoyed it in my time with it. I think we still need to get a little bit further away, to be quite honest with you. I'm going to fall back as far as I can, and we should probably have this dude fall back as well, and we'll just try to split his aggro here. And at least we can put him in range, or we can put the Gargantuan in range of our other Arctic Serpent here, who can hopefully help us out. Oh man, our Interceptor not in a good place right now. Alright, so let's have this guy rotate again. He might be in range. Is this an assault cannon that's going to be hitting him here? I think it is. As we rotate here, I think it's important that we put shields up on the right side. And this guy, you just keep trying to escape, and we'll see how this works out. He is repairing as well, so we have problems there. I'm just hoping that we can kind of take him out before he manages to take me out. I mean, if I lose my Interceptor, I think I will just end up losing, like, score here. I don't think I'll end up actually failing the mission. He's almost, again, outside of my minimum range, which is really unfortunate. Oh, my Interceptor's gonna go down. Don't do it! He is inside of my minimum range. Or, yeah, which is bad, actually, right now, I think. But isn't... Oh, whoops, I accidentally clicked hold fire there. He's, like, right on the outset of it, which seems super weird for me why I wasn't firing before. But anyway, we'll try to just fall backwards and see if I can get him back in range. And hopefully we won't die here. He has deflected some stuff. One more hit, a couple more hits, actually, will be able to kill our Interceptor. It's down to 20 health. And I think now it's going to be back into effective range, sort of, if we just rotate ourselves a little bit like this and stop moving backwards, which I think has been okay. I still think we have a decent chance of actually beating this mission. Our Interceptor's been destroyed. Now I think we have a substantially lower chance of beating this mission, as we are about to suffer some serious consequences here. Let's put our shield up on the left side. Let's put our shield up on the left side, and we'll see if we can get lucky and just take this guy down before he manages to destroy my ship here. I mean, I do have my shields up. That's a viable strategy as well. You can make ships that are rammers, basically. So ships that just ram into enemies and do a ton of damage that way. I have never built a ship that used that as a viable strategy, so I don't know how that would work for me. But as is right now, I think I'm probably going to fail this mission as more and more shots from this Gargantuan land. So that'll be the second time I failed this mission. The single player's been pretty hard so far, I gotta say. The other thing I could have done is just, you know, redesigned a fleet for this one. Like, instead of having only 3 ships, so one of them takes a great deal of the aggro, I could have had, you know, 6 ships that were all, like, less heavily armored. But as a result, each one would get... This guy's almost going to be out of range, so we actually need to track him down. But yeah, we could have had 6 ships, each one being, like, less heavily armed. And then, you know, tried things that way. Would it have worked? Beats me, man. I think we probably would have had a better chance, though. Let's actually fall back here. I don't know if this Arctic Serpent is going to last through the turn, but at the very least, if we can just get him to the point where I can hit him a couple times with burst fire. He does have his shields up right now, but we might be able to accomplish some good stuff here. I don't know. I mean, he might be killable. I know that seems crazy. I'm actually going to move forward a little bit now because I'm worried about now him getting too far away. But let's try this then. If we win this mission, it'll be a goddamn miracle, like the movie Miracle, or you know, the real world event if you want to be a little bit more blasé. But oh, I think we're gonna win this one. I kind of can't believe it, but I sincerely think we're gonna be able to destroy this Gargantuan, which is crazy to me. Now, the most important part by far is shields up and in the front. Shields up, and then it's a tough call, but I think we want to go with the front on this one as well. And we'll commit here. And if we just manage to land a few more barrages, it might take us 3 or 4 more turns. Oh, I rotated! It's actually kind of scary right now. 452, so we took out like half of its health last time. So another 2 turns, but we're not going to have any shields left. So this is going to be a little frightening. I think I might have made a bad move with that Arctic Serpent. The other thing is, I will say that it's... oh, come on, just fire some more barrages here. Or maybe it's better not to because the shields are not working, or the shields are up for the enemy right now. But the other thing I will say is that it's pretty punishing because as far as I know, there is no like in-level quick save or anything like that. Holy shit, one more hit will do it. Come on, hit me. I want you to hit me. This is the only thing I need to do to succeed. Fuck the heavy defenses, man. Why is this not attacking the enemy? Oh, because I'm too close, actually. Let's just commit. I think I can make this happen. Oh, hey, we actually managed to beat it. I did not expect that, given we lost our most powerful ship. But in any case, that's a pretty good example of the single player of Leviathan Warships. I really like the single player a lot. I'm having a lot of fun with it. Let's continue here. I don't want to continue with the game, per se, but I want to continue and check out the multiplayer side of it, because that is another big part of things. So let's go back. And before we go and play another game, let's quickly take a look at the customization element in greater detail, because once we get online, I don't want to, you know, waste people's time if I'm in a lobby with them. So let's just ready up for this mission, and then we'll just go to edit fleet size, but then we'll disband the mission as we get a little bit further along. So, this is mission number 1. I don't want to launch mission number 1. Why am I doing mission number 1? Did I make a mistake here? Okay, I think I did make a mistake. Let's go to main menu and surrender. Actually, no, let's just go to main menu here. Which should allow us to just go to edit fleet. If I create game, let's go mission 4, create, edit fleet. Okay, sorry about that. So, this is our fleet right now. This is the standard fleet that I guess they give you on the mission, but you can customize it as you see fit. So let's delete like 2 of these Arctic Serpents, and we'll create our own ship. So let's make another interceptor, because they have a lot of possible armaments. You can see the number of maximum armaments that they have on them right here, and then we just click on it. And the color-codedness is important, as is the kind of like geometrical size of the space, because obviously larger turrets can fit on that. Now, you will unlock more turrets as you play through the single-player game as well. Right now, we don't have a lot on the defensive or on the offensive side, but you'll see in multiplayer, well, actually, you probably won't see in multiplayer, that you will get more things like beam guns, and again, rocket barrages, artillery cannons, like artillery pieces. Again, my military knowledge is pretty weak, but you know, things that have a huge far range for like long-range bombardment, but very, very high minimum ranges as well. So obviously we want to put a shield on here. I wonder, we can also put a mine shooter on here, which might be interesting. You can also see the effective range of the turret when we put it on. And why don't we pop on some... You can see each turret has like a point value associated with it. I also want to pop on a couple of beam guns just for enemies that get too close. In fact, actually, let's move those over to one on each side because I don't want to get involved with head-to-head combat, really. And then we'll take a couple more of these. I'm just going to make sure that I do have the amount of points necessary to build something like this. We can build like a Pegasus here, too. Actually, why don't we get rid of this and then just put a Pegasus on instead, assuming we have the points. We do. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have 7 armaments here. Is there anything else we could even put on? I guess we could put on a Cowser. Just why not on the front, just to allow us to hit enemies maybe if we run into trouble. So we can done here, save it, and now we have a new interceptor in our fleet. So that's the way the customization works. I just wanted to show that off before we got into the online mode. So we're gonna save and get out, and then we will go back to the main menu here. I always get a, there we go. The door was the main menu, I guess. I always feel like that's gonna be exit to Windows or something like that. So for Leviathan Warships, you do have to create your own custom account, which is a little bit unusual, but at the same time only takes about 2 seconds for you to get a verification email. So I'm going to connect here, and again, I'm not sure what we're going to do online. I originally thought that this was only going to be adversarial online play. I thought it was exclusively going to be player versus player, but when I got on, there actually is cooperative enemy versus enemy as well. So hopefully we will connect any second here. I do continue to be clicking the connect button. I know that it's had some problems with its online servers, but yesterday I was able to play 100% without worry. We could probably switch to maybe US server 1 and make it easier. Ah, there we go. So we've gotten in. It looks like they are doing some... Oh, that was yesterday. They're doing some server reboot. But anyway, we're going to join a game if possible. We'll display all public games. This guy is looking for a campaign game. Let's see if we can do a matchmaking points versus match. And we'll make the spread as wide as possible, because I haven't seen a whole lot of people playing this game. I know the trailer. I actually haven't seen the trailer myself, but I know the trailer kind of hit a nerve with people, and people were really excited about it. But, you know, keep in mind we are playing this at 11:30 on a Wednesday morning, so perhaps the American audience is at work or maybe still at school at this point. So it might take us a while to find a matchmaking game, and in fact, we might just not be able to find a matchmaking game. But I think this is the kind of game where, you know, like Frozen Synapse, if you can find somebody that you can play against online, it's going to be more enjoyable for you than just playing the single player. By the way, like I should mention, or like I mentioned earlier, this is coming out for, I believe, Android and iOS, so it's going to be cross-platform, but it's also going to be cross-play, so, you know, if your friend has the tablet version and you have the PC version, you will be able to play against them, and, you know, it's the same thing as Hero Academy, essentially. So I'm going to give this about another 10 seconds, and if matchmaking doesn't come through, I mean, this is an objective negative. If the thing with these sort of multiplayer-focused games, even though the single player is solid here, is that if it doesn't get a huge online community, then that's, you know, 40 to 80% of the value of the game kind of eroded instantly, and that's really shitty. But I will say, when I was playing this at like midnight last night, there was maybe not a robust online community, but there were, you know, I had my choice of games from between, you know, 5 or 6. So let's join Captain Ramarich's game here. I guess this is going to be co-op, and I'm not sure if Sternhelden and Andarius are AI, and I don't think they would be. I didn't realize that there were 4 people here, but maybe we can get in on this and just do a co-op mission. And I'll explain some of the positives and negatives of co-op, assuming these guys ever start the game. I will explain them right now. One of the big negatives is that this game does not have voice comms. So I don't know why that is, if there's just like no built-in VoIP or something like that, but all of the chat is done in text chat, which is the major negative with this game. Latency's been fine. The player base, you know, as you might expect, given that this is a strategy naval warship-based game, is pretty mature, and you know, a lot of the riffraff that you run into in some other online games, not to name names, is kind of absent here. But the fact that there's no voice chat is really annoying. But people, it's especially annoying because you have to really like coordinate with your teammates. Because again, if you ram each other by accident, which, you know, hate it when that happens. College once, too much Goldschlager. No, but if you ram each other, you do a ton of damage, and you know, you want to make sure that you're all prioritizing different ships to allow other to take out enemies as fast as possible, basically, and not let anything slip through your fingers. I'm just gonna check and see if the host is here. If not, we might have to abandon this video, or abandon ship on this video if I was trying to be as clever as possible. A little bit early here, which would be unfortunate because I really did want to show off the online. I had a lot of fun playing online because, again, everybody doesn't get their own fleet, everybody is just in control of their one ship. And that means not only is it like easier, which is good for me as a beginning level player. By the way, the game is super accessible as well, especially largely due to the interface. What was I going to say? Not only is it easier, but at the same time, it makes turns go faster for the most part, as long as you're playing with good guys, because you're not taking 3 minutes to plan moves for 4 or 5 ships. Instead, everybody's just planning for one ship, so you just chat and you're like, okay, I'm going north, Roger, etc., etc. And yes, people really do use Roger and verified 10-4 in this game. But it seems like the host is not here, so sadly, I'm going to leave. But this has been Leviathan Warships. This is available on Steam for $10. It's really unfortunate that that guy was not there. Let's see, maybe there's one more here. Doesn't appear so. Yeah, this is available on Steam for $10. It's also available, or coming at the very least. Didn't mean to put the emphasis on that word in an awkward way, but it's coming to iOS and Android tablets. As far as I know, I assume it's coming to Android tablets. I'm not 100% sure about that, but I'm very confident it's coming to iOS. And there is crossplay. You saw the single player. You can edit your own fleet, etc., etc. I like this game a lot. It's a damn shame that the multiplayer community seems to be a little bit dry. Again, it is 11:40 a.m. in the morning, Pacific Standard Time. So people on the U.S. server are probably going to be at work and whatnot. But in any case, it is what it is. I have a duty to show things honestly here. So if they don't manage to have a substantial online community, that's a big negative, but I do enjoy the single player as well. And again, there will be a link in the video description to the Steam store page if you're interested. Is it better than Frozen Synapse? I tend to think Frozen Synapse has a better aesthetic, a more unique aesthetic as well. And it seemed to have, if I remember correctly, an online community that has created a lot of long-tail success for them. Not that this won't, by any stretch of the imagination. I would say, they're different games. If you're only going to buy one, maybe Frozen Synapse. But if you're all Frozen Synapsed out, or you like the looks of this, and you think you would have as much fun with it as I have had so far, then definitely consider giving it a try. As always, I'm rambling at the end. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.